Thank you so much for joining me this morning. I had a question come up with me this morning, kind of about Mother's Day is approaching, and how do you guys feel about, dealing with work life and having a child with maybe a mental health challenge or those high extreme behaviors? Do you guys have any recommendations how to balance those two?
That's a hard one. That's hard, Tracy. It's hard.
No, we don't balance.
We right.
Let me know if you do.
We need the magic. Moms are the glue. We hold this all together. And, I often tell people we have it up here, right? We've got everything up here and it's hard. And we talk about like being in survival mode. And I sometimes feel like we're always swimming, always, like salmon up the water stream. We're just always trying to survive. But yeah, I need the tips too. So ladies, bring it on.
Yeah, I'm the crazy glue over here. I don't know about y'all, but I am.
That's my husband. He's the crazy glue. I'm the glue. He's the crazy glue.
Yeah. I'm the crazy glue.
I think it's really hard. And what I was saying was like my granddaughter, and even my youngest daughter, we've been told that oppositional defiance disorder. And I don't think a lot of people even talk about oppositional defiant disorder and how difficult it is, because there is a lot of defiance. It's above normal when you have a child that is so defiant and does not want to listen, and it has extreme highs. And I remember my oldest being that way, going to the grocery store and having a complete meltdown and having to kind of like be in the aisle, kind of trying to calm her down. And so last night I was explaining that my granddaughter was extremely angry. She was, throwing things and punching her brother. And, my daughter had to leave work to go tend to that. And so she started to get worried that her job is in jeopardy because she's taking her, kids first. And I often remember that too, being, at work, and I had to leave because I had to be called to the school, or I was late because my daughter didn't want to go to school. So it's so hard to manage work life.
I think
and
in our
mom life
society, we definitely do not give parents and mothers, as much credit. Now, an employer hires someone and they find out this person's great at so many things, like this is going to be a great employee. They became great at so many things and so diverse because of their job as a parent that they have, that they've learned how to figure things out and pivot and just stay on top of things and get things done. But they don't want to look at them as that mother. And if we honestly want to have like a good, healthy society, all these kids need their mothers. They need that back and forth. And moms want to be able to have the job, have the career, and you shouldn't have to choose between your children and having a career. Employers need to be more understanding and just kind of look at that mom. I know stuff has to get done. Things have to get done. Whenever you have, a job, they expect things to get done. But there has got to be some kind of way that you can look at a mother and say, go do what you got to do. Your job's going to be here. Like, say that to her. Say the job's going to be here. Go deal with what you got to deal with.
I remember I had to take FMLA because I wasn't able to get my daughter onto the school bus because mornings were absolute hell. Like there's no other way. Like it was, I remember having our family base here and they got here at like 6 o'clock in the morning and they just sat downstairs and they listened to her get ready. And she was screaming and she was having a fit. And when she came downstairs and saw them sitting there, she was like, oh, you guys heard that? And they were like, she's talking like she's in high school. And at that time, she was like 7, 8 years old, And so I actually had to take FMLA so that I wouldn't be like tardy and get those point systems against me. Because mornings were absolute, so difficult.
Now with my son, it's not morning. So I have two little ones still. They're 7 and 9. My 7-year-old does not have the ODD or anything like that yet. But so Riker, my 9-year-old, who has a lot going on, mornings aren't bad. He wakes up in the morning. He's a little wild. He's like, ready to go. It's after school. He's exhausted. His medicine has wore off. He is like a 40-year-old man going through a divorce. Mm-hmm. He's like, I'm not doing nothing when I get home. I'm not doing homework. I'm not going to practice. I don't want anybody to look at me. I'm not talking to any, like, and if anybody would be around, they would think that he was a horrible, you know what I mean? But he's had it. Like, he'll tell me, I put in 8 hours. I'm not, I'm
his
not
little
doing
social
it anymore.
battery is depleted by the time he gets home.
It is. And we played football in the fall, and he was doing really, really well. And, we live, breathe, eat football. My husband's the president, blah, blah, blah. Riker quit within a month, because once school started and you had school all day and then practice 3 nights a week, he couldn't do it. He could. And so people see that side of him. They see him screaming and yelling and throwing things at practice that night. He's stripped down to his underwear, throwing his pads, screaming like an idiot. And people see that side. And I feel bad. And then I always find myself like, explaining, listen, hey, he, it's a lot. These kids, and you know what? Another thing is, nobody gives these babies any grace. The world was so much slower when we were young. Now I know I'm older, but it was just so much slower. You know what I mean? And they gave us time. They understood we were kids. Now everything's so fast paced, and I think it takes a lot for these kids to keep up. So I'm not, making excuses. My husband says, you make all these excuses. I always say, if it's this 100%. Hard for us, and think about
your
what that
9-year-old
feels like.
We have talked about this several times. Right. He and I have a great rapport. I'm like, he could come here. He behaves like an angel. If I need to watch him, she's always like afraid to drop him off. He can always come here. And he just needs you to relate to him. Like, I'm not much of a yeller anyway, but like we have relatability. We never have any issues because I talk to him like a human being. And I think that's all he wants, is somebody to talk to him like they're on the same level. Because he's an awesome kid. He's like one of my favorite kids of all time.
Oh.
And you know what? Like I said, it's just understanding that these, like, I can't say it enough. Like, every kid is different. So, I have 6 kids. We all know this. They're all different. I could sit here. I could do my own podcast and explain every one of my kids, But I just don't think that anybody ever, and unless you have a child with any kind of diagnosis, you don't get it. We've all done it before we had kids with issues. Oh my goodness, look at that kid. Oh my God, she needs to do whatever. Oh my God, that kid is so bad. My kid would never do that. Then your kid does it. And then you're like, oh no, I'm that mom, So I just think that, like I said, it all comes back to giving everybody a little bit of grace. I'm a hot mess mom 90% of the time, but I'm there. And I think that, and my kids know
it's
I'm
very
there,
difficult.
Okay.
No, go ahead.
I think
it's difficult. And Melissa mentioned earlier, like, and being a single mom. I'm not a single mom, and I have support, but I can't imagine those single moms out there trying to juggle, keep the job. The kiddo's playing in a soccer game, a football game. I got to do his, clean all his sports gear and stuff. And he's having a meltdown. That's just a lot. And you're right, grace. It's about just giving people grace, because years ago, I don't think everybody was so involved in lots of different things. So the pace of life was a little slower, I think. Now, we're just more involved, and moms are working, and, it's a unique journey that we're on, how to manage it all as moms.
For sure.
How do you give your kids what they need, your job what you need to do there, and like everything else, and still be a human being? Like,
I do think
you become robotic almost because you're trying to give everybody else in the world what they need, and that you get to a point. Jill and I were talking about this morning. Like, at what point do we all just like roll over? Like, we're all so tired, we're all so run down. Like, at what point are you just like, okay, I'm done, I can't do it anymore?
Yeah.
I think too, like what Jill was saying earlier, I think that we as parents dealing with the child with a mental health diagnosis and everything that goes along with that we ourselves are in that PTSD. We are constantly waiting for that shoe to drop. We're constantly unaware. We're constantly worrying. Like, there's so much that is on our plate that it's really difficult to even have a job, when we're dealing with everything that goes along with raising a child with, behavioral challenges. And back to Jill too, was that after school. As soon as my daughter's foot would get off that school bus, it was complete meltdown, and it would be 2 to 3 hours long, because they've held it together for so long at school, because she never had problems at school. But as soon as she got home, it was gloves were off or gloves were on.
And it's terrible because like you're so excited to see them, and then the first word out of their mouth is like, I'm not. And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, how was your day? Well, I had IEP meetings the other day for my kids, and it's terrible because, like you say, the PTSD. So I go in, I sit down, and they do Riker first, and I just start crying. They were like, "Why are you crying?" And I'm like, "Because I hate doing this. I hate talking about it. I hate this whole thing." And they're like, "He's doing great." But we as moms, we're so used to hearing the bad that it's hard. Like,
you're gonna make me cry because he's the best boy.
IEP meeting, and it was a good one. They were good ones.
But look, I'm tearing out too because he really is the best boy, and I hate to hear negative things about him because he really is the best.
Why do we always cry about Riker? Anyways, okay. So what do you guys do for Mother's Day? Like, what does your family do for Mother's Day? All that we do. What do you get?
I want a day off. I don't want to worry about anything. And I would like the whole weekend. I don't just want the day. I want like the weekend to not have to worry about anything.
I feel you. Okay, I have to ask. So does anybody get this from their husband? I've gotten this for like 20 years. Well, you're not my mom.
I've heard that.
Do you guys get
my
that?
husband's
or is
old,
it
like
just mom?
I think he's like an old Pennsylvania Dutch man. Like, he should have been born. Yeah. He should be like 80. But he's like, you're exactly, Jill. He's like, you're not.
Who
Yeah,
finds
my
their
mom.
stuff when they've lost it?
You're not my mom.
For the 100th time, can't find nothing. Oh, I could go on and on about the motherly things that we do.
I say, well, if you didn't act like a child, I wouldn't have to be your mom.
Well, I just always wonder because, like, you see on Facebook, and I know the whole thing, it's not all, roses and butterflies, but I always think it's funny because I see all this stuff. And so I have a million kids, and I always think, I always thought, I'm going to have these great Mother's Days. And, some of my kids are married, so they do their thing with their person. And then my little kids are too little. They bring me home a tomato plant in the styrofoam cup. And, my husband, who you would think would be like the one that does everything, says to me, well, you're not my mom.
Yeah. And then when Father's Day comes, you go all out.
I remember that.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Because that's what we do. We're givers. We, it's we're nurturers. That's what's in our nature is to give. And it can be tough. For Mother's Day, again, sometimes I just go. I get in the car. I'm like, you know what? I'll be back. When you coming home? I don't know. Maybe I'll be home at noon. Maybe I'll be home at 2. Where will you be? Maybe TJ Maxx. Maybe Hobby Lobby. Maybe I'm going to go to church and sit there and pray and cry for all of you. I don't know. I don't want to answer to anybody. I don't want to answer to anybody. I don't want my phone to ring. Just bye. You can handle it. See ya. So sometimes I literally just leave. And I'll go to like Starbucks and sit in a chair and with coffee and watch a movie. Like, leave me alone.
I like that a lot.
That's what I do sometimes.
Well, I have a little bit of a unique situation because I'm significantly older than my youngest sister, 12 years difference, and then 10 years between me and my brother-in-law. So the two of them actually always do stuff for me on Mother's Day. Other people may not, but my brother-in-law and my little sister both, they sometimes will do it collectively, but they always do something, buy me a gift, take me somewhere, whatever it is. Because I mean, I had a hand in both of their like upbringings. I guess Nathan's mom died when he was 14, my brother-in-law. So we kind of, took him under our wing. So it's a strange relationship because there's only a 10-year age difference, but they kind of treat me on Mother's Day usually to something. So that's always really nice.
Yeah. My kids are always just wonderful to me.
That's nice.
They think about the things that I want to break from. Like, don't say all the kids are coming for dinner and then I'm making the dinner. Like, they will bring every last thing and like, you don't do anything, take care of dinner. But the best gift I ever got, and it is still like my most favorite Mother's Day gift, we had a book when the kids were grown up that I read to them every night until you just know every word of it, and they got me a copy of the book and they recorded themselves reading page by page to me. It was just the sweetest thing. I love that. It was like the best thing ever.
Yeah, amazing. I love that too.
You know what else they did? I'm sorry, I'm getting excited thinking about it. But when they were little, we would have tea parties. And back then, you had to actually buy black and white film to make something look old. So we did like black and white pictures. They went and recreated all of the pictures that we did. And instead of tea, they had wine because they were old enough to drink. So like the last picture is them like taking the whole wine thing back, but it was just the best thing.
That's adorable. How thoughtful, like, to come up with that.
Yeah.
That's super cute.
That's amazing.
That is so nice.
Hey, I miss those little plants in the styrofoam.
So I get a tomato plant and
fingerprints all over
every year.
it. Yeah, I miss that.
No, it's usually spilled in your car. That's what I was just thinking. Is it usually spills in my car before it makes it home. My kids are little too, so it's tough for them. And my husband lost his mom when he was pretty young, so he struggles with Mother's Day. So it's not really a big deal in our house. We had an ongoing joke. My dad would buy me Angelo's gift cards it's an Italian restaurant here, every year for Mother's Day. And for a while I didn't use them. So at one time I had $600 worth of Angelo's gift cards just sitting here because I never used them, but he continuously bought them for Mother's Day. Cracked me up.
That's sweet. You'll miss all the stuff from when they were little, even like the fingerprints on the glass, like you do miss those things.
I don't know, Melissa. I have
You're never going to not have fingerprints.
Here, so I have fingerprints on everything.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
I
never
want
ending.
grandkid fingerprints. I got one that's like mid-20s, and I'm like, let's go.
So I decided I'm going to be a fake grandma to my brother-in-law's baby. They're pregnant right now, and they won't have any grandparents. So Frank and I, instead of aunt and uncle, are going to be grandparents. Jill, you can be the other if you want to be.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Since you're already Aunt Jill to my kids, maybe you can be
I can be something. I can be something.
Since you're already Aunt Jill to my kids, your Bobby's favorite.
I'll be the aunt. I'll be Aunt Jill. I'll be the crazy Aunt Jill everybody loves.
Your Bobby's favorite.
I know. I love him. Yeah.
I was going to say it's sometimes hard too. And I love having the positive memories, but I remember that there has been so many Mother's Days that it ended up in chaos too. And it was like behaviors. And I think that expectation that Mother's Day or any holiday is going to be this stress-free day and everything's going to go well. And majority of the time, I can remember that it just turned out not to be that, you know, and it's heartbreaking because it seems like it should be that day that moms, you know, have, as like Melissa says, these recreated memories and fingerprinted pictures and things like that. And I remember so many of them just ending up going, okay, I'm going to go back to Starbucks and I'm going to sit there like Pearl and just go away.
Yeah, I always feel like that too. Like it's supposed to be something. Like my husband, what he always likes to do is, what is with that hair? So what my husband likes to do is, oh, I'll cook on the grill. Well, that's fine. And he does. He loves to cook on the grill. But then I have to make all the sides. I have to get all the chairs outside. And then like my mother-in-law comes over and then all of my kids come over with their people. And then it's funny because once my kids show up and they bring my grandchildren, they think they're off. Like it's their day off. So now I'm chasing these wild Indians around the farm and their parents and I look back on the porch and they're all sitting there laughing and having a good time. And I'm like, I'm sweating. I can't breathe, you know? So it's just, that's exactly it. And then you feel like you said, then you come in the house and then you're upset because
it's this
you feel like
this hallmark,
this was supposed to be
like
about me.
Mom just sitting there and you guys just come up and hug me and just, you know, tell me, you know, you love me. I don't care if you give me a card, a flower, anything, just your words. But it's not like that, you know?
I seen where on social media there was someone complaining. It's like, what's with all these mothers that are going like to the hotel for the night, like a whole day? I'm like, that's what they should be doing. Yes, that is wonderful. Like celebrate all the hard work she did all year. Give her a day off. Come on. I love that. Go hang out in a hotel room.
We really do. We do. We're like, all right, can we just sneak away for one night? We'll bring our Kindles. We won't speak. We'll order food.
I like that idea.
We won't. I don't even look at me. We'll just lay next to each other, read books, eat food. That's it.
Yeah. Amen.
Yeah.
So let me ask you guys
that actually
has
has
anybody
like,
had
no
somebody like go out of their
characters?
way to plan something really nice for you and it'd be like the exact opposite of what you wanted to do?
Yeah.
Not me.
I love my family. I love my sister to death, my little sister. She has something planned for me next weekend and it is not. She wants me to come to Mount Washington, which is fine, whatever, and make a bouquet at some like flower event, which I kill all plants. I like sneeze if I touch a flower, and I'm doing it and I'm going to smile the whole time and I'm going to be so grateful that she loves me enough to plan something, but I just want to sit and stare at the wall.
But here you go
How I
again.
live my life,
it's supposed
Jill.
to be your
That's
day,
who I am as a human
you're
being.
going to do it to make her happy. I know. I feel you. Listen, okay, so I got to tell you guys this. So we all know my kids are 31, 29, 19, 18, 9, and 7, right? Got a new tattoo. It's my two. Can you see it? It's my two littlest boys in their, it's upside down, but whatever. My two littlest boys in their Halloween costume. So it's tradition, right? I go get a tattoo with each one of my kids when they turn 18. So by the time these two turn 18, I'm going to be like, my skin will be nasty and, you know, crepey. And no, I'm not getting tattoos at like 70. So when I came home with this tattoo, my older children, who I have a tattoo with each of them, were mad. They are jealous and want me, as they asked me what kind of mother I was, because I have 2 of 6 of my kids on me.
I would let them know
They want me to go get them
and do
tattooed
they really want
on
to see
me. All of them. Yeah.
We talked about that. I was like, you need a family photo tattooed on your butt cheek.
Well, I told them I'm going to get them. You know where I'm getting 2 on each butt cheek. That's where I'm getting. Yes, that's it. So that's what I mean. Like we're forever doing everything that they expect us to always think about them first and put them first and do what they want first. And whenever we do something for ourselves, what kind of mother
but Julie's
are you?
really the sweetest person in the world. I really have to do it.
So yes, so you're going to go do that with your sister.
Really, I just want to go get a pedicure with you and sit there.
She
That's
is.
all I really want
She had a good heart, but like you said, that's not something you would do. Yeah. Oh no, because they hurt, and you know me, I can't.
Well, as Mother's Day comes and approaches,
I would say
does
that
anybody
inner
have
voice,
that last
close her down. Don't let her
advice
keep
for
beating
moms
you up
out
that it
there
should
that
be
are
this and it
struggling right
should be
now?
that. Like, you're rocking it, you know? And like the public thing that happens when your kids are struggling, and I learned a long time ago, what other people think of me is none of my business. It's not my job to keep educating them and keep explaining myself. I wish I knew that then while I was in the middle of it, but, quit being so hard on yourself.
Yeah.
Mm, yeah.
Talk
'Cause you
kindly to
wouldn't talk
yourself.
to somebody else that
Tracy
way.
taught me that this week.
Yeah.
Watch the way you talk to
Not
yourself.
usually.
I would say what I would tell some moms is, communicate your expectations, not the day before. Maybe, like a week or so before, even though it sounds a little kind of strange, but because you want everybody to say, oh, hey, it's Mother's Day coming up. But in reality, they might look at the calendar and be like, oh my gosh, Mother's Day is tomorrow, right? And, just maybe talk to your partner, your husband, whatever, and just say, listen, this is what is going to happen on Sunday. I don't know if you know, but Sunday's Mother's Day, and this is what's going to happen. Maybe just communicate your expectations and what you need. Because my husband knows on this Mother's Day, my middle son is graduating from college, so I will be in the midst of a college graduation that he just told me 2 days ago that he ignored 10 emails awesome. And does not have family tickets for the graduation. So, oh yeah. So now that's my problem, right? Mom has to solve that. But he thinks he might have found 3. So, but just communicate and see and let your family know that you need this day. It's one day.